I spot my reflection in the polished glass doors of the Grand Meridian Hotel and barely recognize myself. The woman staring back wears a lavender dress that cost me 2 weeks of salary and heels that already bite into the skin of my toes. My hair, usually pulled tight under a chef's hat, falls in smooth waves around my shoulders. For a fleeting moment, I almost look like I belong here at my brother's high society wedding. But the illusion fractures the instant I step inside. The pre-ceremony gathering swells with conversations about law firms, medical practices, and investment portfolios. I clutch my champagne flute as if it were oxygen, a lifeline in a sea of people who are technically family, but feel more like strangers draped in expensive fabrics. A waiter sweeps by with a tray of canapés, and my instinct is automatic. I assess plating, garnish, temperature, old habits that never quite leave. Then my father's voice cuts through the hum, smooth and commanding, carrying across the polished air. "Yes, that's my daughter Scarlett." He gestures vaguely toward me, not even bothering with eye contact. "She's just a cook, not a professional like Michael." My mother's gentle laugh floats after his words, a laugh that used to mean bedtime stories and safety, now wielded as social currency. "We tried to guide her toward law school," she tells his colleagues. "But she was always stubborn." Heat rushes up my neck and pools in my face. The champagne turns bitter on my tongue. My hand trembles, the liquid rippling inside the glass like a storm contained. Just a cook. After 6 years of culinary school, 3 years of working 16-hour days for scraps, and finally earning my position as head chef at one of the most respected restaurants in the city, those words gut me like nothing else. My chest tightens as memory slices its way in Sunday dinner 7 years ago. The long mahogany table polished to a mirror shine my father at the head, like a judge at his bench. I had finally gathered the courage to speak. "I've decided not to apply to law school," I said, trying to keep my hand steady. "I've been accepted to the Institute of Culinary Arts." Silence dropped heavy, pressing against my skin. My father set his fork down with deliberate care. "Cooking." He rolled the word like a sour fruit in his mouth. "You want to spend your life as a short-order cook when you could be a lawyer. It's not just cooking, Dad. It's a hobby, Scarlett," he interrupted. "Not a career." That judgment has lived in me ever since, festering, quietly resurfacing now as though it never left. I slip away from the glittering crowd, lungs aching for air. A marble hallway offers temporary refuge. I lean against the cool wall, close my eyes, and try to breathe. Another flash of memory presses in. Michael at 12, bringing home an A on a social studies project. Dad had it framed in his office. Me at 14, winning a junior cooking competition. Dad glanced at my ribbon and asked if I'd finished my algebra homework. Why am I still chasing their approval after all these years? The question stalks me like a shadow. I run a kitchen with 18 staff. I design menus that critics praise in the Sunday paper. I've earned every scar and every sleepless night. None of it matters here, not in this family where only law degrees and court victories are considered worth bragging about. I remember Chef Marcus's words during my first week as head chef when I apologized for correcting a senior line cook's technique. "Your talent doesn't need their validation, Scarlett. Your knowledge speaks for itself." I inhale, straighten my back, and fix my lipstick in the reflection of my phone camera. When I return to the gathering, I wear my mask of composure. Guests are being guided toward the ceremony space when my cousin Brittany intercepts me. Her diamond bracelet catches the light like a challenge. "Scarlett, Auntie told me you're working at that French place. Do you like being a cook?" I keep my smile steady. "I'm the head chef at Maison Bleue, actually. Not just a cook." Before Brittany can answer, my father materializes, glass in hand. "It's all the same thing, Scarlett. You work in a kitchen. Something snaps. Years of sweat, late-night study, and relentless training all dismissed in 9 words. My throat burns with words I know will only explode against his wall of indifference. So instead, I excuse myself before I say something irreversible. But I feel it. The imbalance is suffocating. Here my father controls the story. To everyone in this glittering circle, I'm Richard Anderson's daughter, who chose pots over prestige. The black sheep who disappointed her pedigree. Yet I know the truth of every scar on my arms, every callus on my hands. They are the proof of someone who fought for her craft. My phone buzzes. Chef Marcus again. How's the wedding from hell? My fingers hover, then spill the truth. They're making me feel like nothing. His reply is immediate. Remember who you are. You passed Serve Safe on your first attempt. That's not nothing. My chest loosens slightly. He's right. That certification meant hundreds of hours of study, grueling practice, and an exam that many seasoned chefs fail more than once. I passed nearly perfect. My eyes lift and land on the seafood display across the room. Shrimp, oysters, crab claws glistening beautifully and sitting under warm lighting instead of refrigeration. My stomach drops. 40 minutes at room temperature, maybe longer. My instincts scream. I flag down a passing server balancing champagne. How long have these been out? I ask. She shifts uncomfortably. About 40 minutes. We're behind schedule. My pulse spikes. 40 minutes is dangerously close to disaster. I catch a young server asking the catering manager if the platters should be iced. His sharp reply. It's fine. Stop wasting time, makes my blood run cold. I scan the crowd, mentally listing the vulnerable: my grandmother, with a heart condition. Michael's pregnant sister-in-law, little cousins darting around the tables. 200 people at risk because someone thinks food safety is a detail. I think of Dad praising Michael's framed A while my James Beard nomination sat ignored. I think of Mom posting about his law school acceptance while my first magazine feature gathered dust in her drawer. Appearance over substance. Credentials over skill. Tonight, those little details could mean lives. The realization steadies me. This isn't about proving anything to my family. This is about preventing a catastrophe. The champagne flute trembles in my grip. My father glances at his watch, impatience etched into every line of his face. I walk straight to him. Dad, I say evenly. There's a serious problem with the food. The seafood has been sitting out too long. It's a health hazard. His smile stays fixed, his eyes darting to the guests nearby. Don't cause a scene. This is Michael's day. I'm not trying to cause a scene. I'm trying to prevent food poisoning. My mother appears peach silk, shimmering, her nails perfect as pearls. She lays a hand on my arm. Not everyone obsesses over these things like you do, dear. The caterers know what they're doing. I look into her eyes. Mom, this isn't about being obsessive. This is about science. The food is in the danger zone. People could get sick. My father's voice drops to a warning. Don't embarrass us, Scarlett. If you make a fuss tonight, you'll regret it. His threat is familiar. It's the same one he used when I chose culinary school over law, when I skipped family dinner, to run my first service as executive chef, when I corrected his pronunciation of bouillabaisse. But this time, something inside me hardens. I look at him, then past him toward the kitchen, toward where I know the truth will be waiting. This isn't about their approval. It's about doing my job. And tonight, that job might just mean saving 200 lives. I push through the swinging doors into the service hallway, the air thick with kitchen heat and tension. The venue manager stands near the entrance, clipboard in hand, worry creasing her brow. She looks up as I approach. Miss Waters, I ask, my voice steady, despite the rush of adrenaline in my chest. Yes. she says cautiously. I'm Scarlett Anderson, groom's sister. I pause, then pull my ServSafe Manager certification card from my wallet and place it in her hand. I'm not just a guest. I'm a certified food safety manager and head chef at Maison Bleue. Your seafood platters are at unsafe temperatures. They need to be pulled immediately. Relief flickers across her face so quickly I almost miss it. We lost our food safety supervisor last week, she admits in a low voice. I knew something was wrong with the setup, but the catering manager insisted it was standard procedure. Can you help? I nod without hesitation. Show me the cooler. She leads me past busy staff, some chopping with frantic speed, others carrying trays of glasses into the ballroom. Nobody pays us much attention as we slip into the cold storage room. She hands me a digital probe thermometer, her backup. The staff should be using these consistently, but her voice trails off. I know what she's not saying. I take the thermometer, its weight familiar, almost comforting in my hand. This is my battlefield. I check the first shrimp platter. The numbers climb 47, 50, 52 degrees Fahrenheit. My stomach tightens. Too warm. Far too warm. I take readings from multiple trays, crab claws, oyster salmon, all hovering around 52. Each one confirms the danger. I document every reading on her notepad, snapping photos with my phone for timestamps. Seafood should never exceed 41 degrees, I say firmly. These have been sitting out too long. At this temperature, bacteria doubles every 20 minutes. Miss Waters pales, but nods. She signs her name on my documentation, her title beneath it. Together we move through the kitchen, and more violations jump out: raw chickens stored above ready-to-eat vegetables, dressings with no date labels, a hand sink without soap. My pulse hammers. This isn't one careless mistake. This is systemic negligence. We confront the catering manager, a stocky man with sweat gleaming on his forehead. These readings are unacceptable, I tell him, laying the notepad on the counter. His face reddens. We've never had a problem before, he snaps. Who do you think you are to inspect my kitchen? She's a certified food safety manager, Miss Waters says, her voice sharp with authority. We need to listen. The caterer glares at me, his jaw tight. Those readings must be wrong. I slide the thermometer across the counter toward him. Check them yourself. He stabs a shrimp with the probe. The digital display confirms my data: 52 degrees. His hands shake slightly as he pulls the thermometer back. We need to pull the seafood immediately, I state loud enough for nearby staff to hear. A ripple of silence falls across the kitchen. The authority in my voice doesn't feel borrowed anymore. It feels earned. For the first time, someone with authority calls me by my professional title. Chef Anderson, Miss Waters, says, what do we do next? The words wash over me like a balm. I straighten my shoulders. We discard the seafood. Then, we reorganize the menu with what's safe. A young line cook, no older than 20, approaches hesitantly. I tried to warn him earlier, she says, glancing nervously at the caterer. But he wouldn't listen. I meet her eyes. You did the right thing. Thank you. Her shoulders ease. I can feel the shift in the air. Staff members who had been skeptical now look at me differently, as if recognizing I know what I'm talking about. Miss Waters touches my arm. We need to inform your father and the management, she says. My confidence falters for a moment. Facing my father with this evidence feels harder than confronting the caterer. But there's no choice. The risk is too great. Let's do it, I say, gathering my documentation. In a small office off the reception hall, my father waits with the venue's general manager, a tall woman with stern eyes. What's this about seafood being removed? My father demands the moment I walk in. His tone carries the same dismissiveness I've known all my life. I place the documentation on the table between us: temperature logs, photos, witness signatures. The seafood is unsafe. It will cause food poisoning if served. It must be pulled immediately. My father scoffs. You're overreacting and embarrassing us. The words sting, but I hold my ground. This isn't about me or you, it's about guest safety. FDA guidelines require seafood to remain below 41 degrees. At current temps, bacteria is multiplying rapidly. The general manager studies my documentation. These readings are concerning, she admits. Concerning my father interrupts. It's just a few degrees. Scarlett has always been dramatic. Miss Waters steps forward. She's right. We have a serious issue. The general manager's expression hardens. Mr. Anderson, we could face significant liability if guests become ill. Based on Ms. Anderson's certification, her assessment is actionable. I feel the power in the room shift subtle but undeniable. My father's jaw tightens, his face flushing. For once, his authority doesn't carry the final word. The general manager turns to Miss Waters. Pull all seafood immediately. Inform the staff. Miss Waters nods. Yes, ma'am? My father says nothing as she leaves to carry out the order. I've won not through family name or social standing, but through knowledge and expertise. Back in the kitchen, staff move with urgency, discarding unsafe platters. The atmosphere has changed. Instead of dismissing me, they look to me for guidance. What now? Chef 1 asks. The title, the respect, it strengthens me. I move quickly, pivoting from defense to offense. We have 200 guests to feed, I tell them. We need a new menu, safe and elegant, ready in less than an hour. Anxious glances pass between the staff. Miss Waters looks at me expectantly. Can it be done? I nod, already calculating. We'll make it happen. I ask for a full inventory. Within minutes, a sous chef rattles off 40 pounds of chicken breast, 20 pounds of pasta, fresh vegetables, herbs, cream, butter. My mind whirs. Good. That's enough. I sketch a replacement menu: herb roasted chicken with lemon beurre blanc, mushroom cream, pasta, seasonal vegetables. I assign stations quickly based on skill: the young cook with sharp knife skills to protein prep, the older one with steady hands to sauce, the energetic one to vegetables. We're not here to play blame, I tell them. We're here to serve excellence. The room straightens. We are a team now. I call Chef Marcus, putting him on speaker as we work. I explain the situation. Smart move pulling the seafood, he says. Marinate the chicken fast with lemon and herbs. Use pasta water starch to thicken the sauce. For presentation, plate vertically. Stack components. Make simple look premium. His voice steadies me. We work in sync, the kitchen transformed into a well-oiled brigade. Chicken sears on hot pans, filling the room with the aroma of citrus and herbs. Pasta boils, vegetables are blanched and shocked to keep their color bright. The mushroom sauce reduces into silk. I check temperatures obsessively, every plate a reflection of safety and pride. Servers coordinate with us for synchronized service. The rhythm is frenetic, but focused, exactly the kind of storm I was built to command. The kitchen hums with energy when the door slams open. My father stands there, face dark with anger. What exactly do you think you're doing? He demands. I keep my voice calm. Ensuring your guests have dinner, Dad. His eyes blaze. You pulled an entire seafood course that cost thousands. Who gave you that authority? I hold up the thermometer. The health department did when they certified me. His jaw clenches. If you ruin Michael's wedding dinner, you'll regret it. The threat feels smaller this time, like a script he no longer believes. Dad, I say evenly, please let me do my job. I'm saving this reception. He glares, but before he can reply, Miss Waters steps in behind him. Mr. Anderson, we need the kitchen clear. He hesitates, then leaves with one last look of fury. The second he's gone, I turn back to the stove. How's the sauce? I ask, tasting quickly. Perfect. I call for plating. The staff move with precision, arranging chicken, pasta, and vegetables, elegantly elevating simple ingredients into a feast. For the first time tonight, the kitchen feels truly mine. My hands don't shake. My orders don't stumble. I am Chef Anderson, and this is my battlefield. The first plates leave the kitchen balanced carefully on silver trays. My pulse thrums as I watch through the narrow window in the swinging door. Servers glide into the ballroom, their polished shoes quiet against the marble floor, their smiles practiced, but now carrying a hint of nerves. 200 guests expect seafood towers and delicate oysters. Instead, they will be served roasted chicken, handmade pasta, and fresh vegetables. Would they notice? Would they sneer? My career has taught me to measure success in clean plates, returned in the satisfied silence that follows the first few bites. Tonight, my own family sits at those tables. Tonight, my father's colleagues will judge not just the food, but me. Eleanor, Miss Waters, stands beside me, her clipboard forgotten, her gaze fixed on the guests receiving their first plates. We wait in tense silence. A woman at table 3 cuts into the chicken, lifts a bite, and pauses with it on her tongue. My chest tightens until she smiles, leans toward her husband, and gestures enthusiastically toward her plate. Relief crashes over me like cool water. At table 7, an older gentleman chews the mushroom pasta slowly, then closes his eyes with something like reverence. His wife takes her own bite and nods in quick agreement. My team peers through the window behind me, their faces cautious, hungry for approval. Servers return with empty plates, asking for more sauce on the side for extra vegetables. Table 12 says it's the best chicken they've ever had at a wedding, one reports barely containing her grin. A warmth spreads through the kitchen. Skepticism shifts into pride. These people who only an hour ago doubted my right to give orders now move with the confidence of a team that knows it has delivered something extraordinary. A young server approaches Eleanor, her voice trembling with excitement. Some guests are asking to meet the chef. Eleanor turns to me. Chef Anderson, that's you? The words send a shiver down my spine. For so long, I've fought to be seen as more than Richard Anderson's stubborn daughter. Now here in the Grand Meridian's gleaming ballroom, people are beginning to see me as Chef Anderson. But recognition isn't universal. The swinging doors burst open again, and my mother sweeps into the kitchen like a storm, the wedding planner trailing helplessly behind her. Her dress glitters under the fluorescent lights, a stark contrast to the stainless steel around us. "Scarlett," she snaps, eyes blazing. "What have you done?" I wipe my hands calmly and step toward her. "Mom, I can explain what? That you sabotaged your brother's wedding because you're jealous, that you embarrassed this family in front of everyone." She digs into her clutch for her phone. "I'm calling Frank Donahue. He owns this catering company and plays golf with your father. He'll put a stop to this nonsense." The accusation slices deep, sharper than any knife in the kitchen. Jealousy. As if the hours I've poured into this rescue are nothing but spite. As if protecting 200 guests from food poisoning is petty revenge. My throat burns, but I don't let it break me. "Mom," I say, keeping my voice level, "this isn't about me. This is about safety. That seafood would have made people sick." "They paid for seafood," she snaps. "And that's what they expect." I glance at the plates lined up on the past chicken, gleaming under lemon beurre blanc pasta, shining with cream and mushrooms, vegetables bright and fresh. "Then they'll get something better," I answer simply. The wedding planner clears her throat nervously. "Mrs. Anderson, the guests are already eating. The food is wonderful. If we delay dessert any longer, the schedule will fall apart." My mother falters, the certainty in her eyes dimming for just a moment as she looks around at the focused staff plating under my command. She has never seen me here in my element, in control of a kitchen. The planner tugs at her arm. "We need you in the ballroom." With one last glare, she turns and leaves her heels clicking against the tile. The kitchen exhales as the door swings shut behind her. I taste the mushroom sauce again, adding a pinch more salt. More herbs on the chicken, I call moving station to station, checking temperatures, seasoning, presentation. Every dish must be flawless. There is no room for mistakes tonight. The kitchen hums with unity now. Each cook works with precision, every garnish placed with care. This is no longer a salvage operation. This is a triumph. Eleanor steps beside me as the last entrees leave the kitchen. Her voice is quiet but firm. Scarlett, you need to be recognized for this. I shake my head. It's not about me. It's about keeping people safe. It's both, she insists. This city needs to know what you did tonight. Moments later, the venue's event coordinator taps the microphone in the ballroom. The chatter dims, glasses clink as guests turn their attention to the stage. My stomach knots. Good evening, everyone, she begins. Before dessert, we want to acknowledge someone very important. Earlier tonight, we faced a potential food safety issue with the original menu. Chef Scarlett Anderson, the groom's sister, identified the problem and led our kitchen through a complete menu change in record time. Thanks to her expertise, you are enjoying a safe and delicious dinner tonight. For a moment, silence. Then applause rises, scattered at first, then swelling into a wave. Some guests even stand, including Dr. Wilkins, my father's longtime friend, a respected gastroenterologist. Heat floods my cheeks. Eleanor nudges me forward, and I manage a small nod of acknowledgement. Through the crowd, I catch my father's expression caught between discomfort and dawning respect. My mother sits stiff, her mask cracking, for the first time surprise etched across her face. The applause fades, but the shift is permanent. Guests approach me directly now. A hotel manager presses his card into my hand. We're opening a new restaurant next spring. We'd love your consultation. A caterer leans close. Call me Monday. We need your safety expertise. Even Michael's college roommate, now a food critic, approaches, eyes bright. Scarlett, this sauce has the perfect balance of acid. How did you pull this off on zero notice? I almost laugh. Trade secret, I say, but inside, I glow. Then Michael himself approaches. He looks tired but happy, his tuxedo jacket unbuttoned, champagne glass in hand. Scar, he says softly, using the childhood nickname I haven't heard in years. Dad told me what happened. You saved my wedding. I try to shrug it off. Just doing my job. No. He shakes his head firmly. I didn't understand before. I thought being a chef was just cooking nice food. But you... He hesitates, his eyes shining. You're the most competent professional in this family. The words land like a weight I've been carrying my whole life, finally being set down. Later, as dessert is served, Eleanor brings me a glass of champagne. Chef Anderson, she says with a smile, I want to talk to you about consulting for the Grand Meridian. After tonight, it's clear we need your expertise. I look down at the bubbles rising in the glass, then back at her steady gaze. I'd be interested, I reply, surprised by the steadiness in my own voice. Across the ballroom, my father watches me. When our eyes meet, he raises his glass slightly in a private toast. For once, I don't look away. I raise mine back. Not as his daughter seeking approval, but as a professional standing tall in her own right. 6 months later, sunlight spills across my small office, warming the framed certificate on the wall. ServSafe Manager renewed in bold black letters above my name. Beside it hangs a glossy magazine profile titled, Safety First, How Chef Scarlett Anderson is Changing Event Standards. My reflection glimmers faintly in the glass, but I hardly recognize the woman who once pressed her back against marble walls at the Grand Meridian, gasping for breath after being called just a cook. The office is modest, tucked above a busy street where horns and laughter rise like background music. But to me, it feels like a cathedral. This is where I launched my consulting practice, Anderson Safety Solutions, born the night I saved 200 guests from a food poisoning disaster. My phone buzzes with a message from Eleanor, now more colleague than acquaintance. Conference room ready. 15 venue managers confirmed. Your scholarship announcement will close the session. I smile, grabbing my presentation notes. That scholarship, the Scarlett Anderson Safety Scholarship, will cover training costs for culinary students who can't afford the expensive exams and textbooks. I remember those sleepless nights of study hunched over binders after 16-hour shifts scraping pennies to pay for materials. No student should have to choose between paying rent and proving their worth. The months since Michael's wedding have been a whirlwind. 3 major venues now use the Anderson Protocols, a system I created for safe catering operations. 2 catering companies hired me to retrain their entire staff. At the Culinary Institute, where I once studied, I now teach guest workshops telling young chefs the truth. It took me years to learn your value is not measured by your family's approval, but by the care you bring to every plate. A national restaurant group even offered me a director position, triple the salary I'd ever earned. For a moment, I considered it. Then I said no. Independence fits me better. Freedom means more than a shiny title ever could. Family dinners have shifted too. They're smaller, quieter, gentler. My father now asks whether leftovers should cool before refrigeration. My mother calls for advice about which caterer to trust for her charity gala. These small questions are louder than any apology. They're the currency of respect. Today's workshop is at the Wellington, the same venue where Mom's retirement party will be held next week. A full-circle moment. I'd redesigned their kitchen only a month ago, ensuring that the staff follow strict safety measures. The idea that my mother will celebrate her career in a venue I helped make safer, it still makes me smile. When I arrive, Eleanor greets me in the lobby, tablet in hand. Your presentation is already drawing buzz, she says warmly. The Anderson Protocols are becoming industry standard downtown. She pauses, eyes twinkling. Your parents are going to see your name in print programs next week. The workshop is packed. Venue managers, caterers, chefs all gathered to hear me speak about something most people dismiss as details. I begin with the same words I whispered to myself that night. Food is love only when it is safe. Faces lean in. Pens scratch across notepads. I demonstrate cross-contamination with a sprinkle of colored powder that spreads invisibly until I shine a black light. Gasps ripple across the room. By the end, people line up to shake my hand, thank me, ask for my card. Afterward, Eleanor clinks her glass against mine. Scarlett, you've built something bigger than yourself. I think of my younger self trembling under my father's judgment, desperate for approval. That girl wouldn't recognize this woman standing here now, steady and sure. The following week, I walk into the Wellington again, this time in a black dress chosen for dignity, not apology. Guests fill the room celebrating my mother's retirement. My father greets me at the entrance, his law partners gathered around. Instead of avoiding my eyes, he waves me over. This is my daughter Scarlett, he says proudly. She's revolutionizing food safety standards in this city. His colleague nods. My wife attended your workshop. She said it was the most valuable training their hospital catering staff has ever received. I feel a lump rise in my throat. For so long, my name was a cautionary tale in his mouth. Tonight, it carries pride. Later during cocktails, my mother approaches, her eyes softer than I've seen in years. The director told me they reorganized their kitchen because of your recommendations, she says quietly. Scarlett, they're safer because of you. I nod gently. Sometimes you have to stand firm in what you know is right, even when it's hard. She holds my gaze for a long time, something unspoken passing between us. The room hushes when my father takes the stage for a toast. He praises my mother's long career, then pauses, glancing at me. I've learned something in recent months, he says, voice carrying across the tables. Respect comes from honoring expertise, even when it doesn't look like what you expect. A murmur of agreement runs through the crowd. My chest tightens. I didn't need these words to know my worth, but hearing them finally feels like sunlight breaking through a storm. When the applause fades, Eleanor takes the stage. Before we close, I want to announce something special. The Scarlett Anderson Safety Scholarship will launch next semester at the Culinary Institute, ensuring that the next generation of chefs learns the critical importance of food safety from the very beginning. Applause rises again, loud and long. My mother's hand covers mine at the table, pride clear in her eyes. I sip champagne and let it all wash over me, the applause, the pride, the realization. I think back to that moment in the hotel corridor when I whispered to myself, I can't let people get sick. That simple choice changed everything. Because that's the lesson, isn't it? Life isn't about their validation. It's about the work we put into the world, the people we protect, the moments where standing firm in your expertise matters more than pleasing anyone's ego. Respect earned by saving lives lasts longer than applause earned by playing along. If you take anything from my story, let it be this. Never let someone reduce you to just anything. Your craft, your knowledge, your care. It matters. It can change lives. It can save them. And one day, it might just change how even your harshest critics see you. Thank you for walking with me through this journey. If my story moved, you please like, share, subscribe, and comment with your own story of standing firm in who you are. Let's build a community where every talent is honored no matter what form it takes. End.